We're live. A little trouble starting.
I know.
It's Thursday.
Always.
Tuesday.
Oh, see, now I'm not the only one that gets the days wrong.
I know. I'm thinking about, we have big news to talk about on Thursday. So I think that's where my head's at.
Yes, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, Laura Dabney, Joelle Brandt, psychotherapist, coach. And we've been talking about how to get people over the hump of coming in to get help for their relationships.
Yes.
Right. Oh, we don't have a mic. We never get our microphone. I'm a low talker, I've been told. Mostly about my husband, so I don't know if that counts. I think there's a hearing issue there.
That's selective.
Right. Selective hearing. So what gets people over the hump of coming in? People are afraid to come in. People are embarrassed, ashamed. And we're on a mission. Is that too strong? Like on a mission to get the people who are suffering to come in sooner, because we've noticed that when people, by the time people come in here or call us, they've been suffering for
Too long.
2 years, decades.
Yeah.
And we just think that's completely unnecessary. So we chat about what we do, and you're invited into my office. So hopefully that makes it a little easier for you.
Yes.
And then you had some idea.
Oh, yeah. The one thing that I thought would be something interesting to talk about is intimacy.
Yeah.
We do deal with a lot of couples, married couples, people in long-term relationships where I think a lot of times people don't really understand what true intimacy is.
Yeah.
Or they have a lot of, they have their ideas of what it is, but Dr. Dabney has taught me along the lines of what the real and true definition of an intimacy could be.
Yeah, a lot of myths, a lot of misconceptions. Mm-hmm. That gets them in trouble. So our niche here is helping executive men with relationship problems. And so this is how we've learned about all the myths that are out there, and then how to help people overcome those myths to get the relationship back on track.
Yeah,
I guess that's what it is. And I think we started talking about the broader definition of intimacy. People think it means sex typically, but the broader definition is transparency.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest way to
explain it.
Yeah. So transparency being, I hate to say honesty because that's also broad, but that's really what it is. So if people, up to now, we've been talking about how people bury their feelings like anger, neediness, sadness, because they feel it's bad or wrong or hurtful. Mm-hmm. But then you're hiding something, right? And so if you're hiding something, basically never a good idea, because either you're hiding an emotion and it later builds and blows, right? Or you're hiding something you feel resentful that's not being taken care of.
Yeah.
So it causes all kinds of problems. So to be able to say something difficult and maybe cause some hurt or some pain or difficult conversation is way better every time than burying it.
Yeah. That's why a lot of times, like I think you said, it's, when it comes to talking about things, if you don't talk about things or aren't honest with things, it's like that's when people can act out and, have bad actions versus,
Exactly. Then talking out. People will act out things as a way to hint, mm-hmm. right? Hint that there's a problem. We talked last time about he should know, because my body language, my this, that, other thing. Like, what? Why not just tell them?
I know.
Why not just tell them? So we talk about that a lot. How to tell somebody something, and it starts with first understanding it.
Yeah.
Because that's also, right, that we see that a lot where they can't even put an emotion on it.
Yeah.
There's a term, alexithymia.
That's a big one.
No.
So what does that mean?
Alexithymia means you cannot read your own emotions. You cannot read emotions. Yeah. I guess it'd be self-alexithymia.
Okay.
Auto-alexithymia. Okay, now I'm getting carried away. Okay. But basically,
come back.
Come back. So basically, people will. I know you've had this happen too. They're telling you about a situation, and they're saying, and I told her this, and I told her that, and I'll stop and say, well, what were you feeling at that time? And They go blank.
I don't know.
I've had people crying, and I'll say, "What are you feeling?" And they'll say, "I don't know." I mean, it's extremely common. This is not a rare thing.
And you literally have to say, I see tears. So usually tears mean sadness.
You actually have to walk people through that sometimes. That's how disconnected they are from certain feelings. Or I'll even try to make the step for them. So when people feel, when their hands are clenched and their heart's racing and their jaws are clenched, what is that feeling usually? Because they can usually name it in somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'll say, what if someone else had that? What would you think? And they, oh, but it sometimes takes that stair-stepping method to get them to fully understand it.
Yeah. Especially when it's something that they're not used to or never had to deal with before. Not that they hadn't had to deal with it, but that they never did deal with it before.
They didn't learn how to deal with it typically, or were too afraid to deal with it, or whatever the situation is, which we also get to, right? So understanding the why. That's another thing people ask me all the time is, why do I need to know why? Well, who cares? I don't want to blame my parents. Like,
it's not about blame.
It's not about blame, it's about understanding.
Yes.
I mean, if you have a crack in your wall of your house, how do you know if it's the roof, the foundation, the paint? You don't know. You have to find out why. Where is it coming from?
Yeah. And then once you find out why, you can address it.
You can address it and then hopefully understand those emotions. And then we practice expressing them. Yeah. Because there's a way. That's when I talk about it. Expressing
healthy.
Yeah, with empathy is what I say, right? So expressing with empathy. So if you think it's going to be a sensitive topic, to maybe say that I know this is a sensitive topic, but I need to talk about my feeling of X when you do Y. That's my template.
I know it is. And I try very hard to practice what you preach.
Okay, well, hope that's working out for you. This is bad for our image. It was working out for you.
It works. It really does work. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that another misconception is that, it's relationships, marriages, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's work. And it takes two people to really, have that true intimacy,
right.
But like even Dr. Dabney said, it's sometimes, you don't both need to be here.
Right.
If you want to fix your marriage or relationship or anything, you can come in and start working on yourself. And really that sometimes makes all the difference,
That is so true. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we have people call and say, well, I want to come in, but my spouse won't come in.
Yeah.
And we're like, come in anyway. We welcome you. But I see it as a scale. And other people also say, well, how can you judge the relationship if you haven't heard the other side? It's like, do I look like Judge Judy? Really?
No.
It's not a court of law. There's no right or wrong. I'm not judging anybody. But if I know if one partner is hurting and doesn't have these skills we were just talking about, then the other person, you're here, she's up here. There's no way in a system that one person can be so out of whack that the whole relationship isn't out of whack. That's all I need to know. So then if I fix him, if I get him to the point where he's healthier emotionally, the whole system will right itself.
It's true.
And I mean, I've dozens, hundreds maybe now times.
And it's also too, is that sometimes it's the one person who comes in, if that husband, that boyfriend, that fiance is finally working on themselves and something changes for him, the partner usually can either be changes themselves and realizes, wow, something's going on. B, okay, I want to come too.
Right.
And then they end up starting to come in together, and it just works. It's like you don't both have to come.
Right. If you're fixing the system. When you fix you're fixing the system, the marital system. And some people pick it up automatically, the changes. They start making the changes too. Or if the approach is healthier, the reaction is often healthier. So then, it's fixed.
And that's just one thing. There's so many different things when it comes to intimacy and misconceptions. And I feel like we could easily talk about that for
Ever.
ever.
We do. We talk about it every day.
But, we can always talk about some more. I know Thursday's a different day.
Thursday we have other news, but
next week we can
yes.
talk about something else. And I mean, please, I know that, especially if it's a sensitive topic, you can always email us, send a private message, because we are open to answering any other questions anyone might have. We don't have to talk about just what we think is important. We value what you guys think is important.
Actually, that's a good idea. If you actually message us your questions, we could just answer those live. And that might be a way to get you rolling with your relationship without picking up the phone or coming in.
At least not yet.
Right. Until later. We'll get you someday.
All right.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Well, I'll see you Thursday, but not with Joelle. Oh, I'm giving away the secret. Okay. I'll see you Thursday.
Stay tuned.